You're listening to Perspectives with Sharon Pearson. This episode is part of a mini-series where we'll be unpacking the first few chapters of Sharon's brand new book, Ultimate You. If you like what you hear, make sure you pre-order the book now. You can find a link in the description. Enjoy! One of the things that I love, a concept that you share in your book around conscious living, and it's unconscious things happening and beliefs and things that, all the muck that's happened.
The muck, I agree.
And we're trying to move forward, but for whatever reason, we're sabotaging ourselves, and
we're stuck in the muck.
We're stuck in the muck, and it's the difference between conscious versus unconscious living.
Yeah,
I love that so much.
So I would say most of us have lived years automatically.
Yeah.
Years getting up, getting ready the same way, going to work the same way, reacting the same way to people, getting defensive the same way, rejecting feedback the same way, and then thinking life somehow is going to be different.
Yeah.
Life is only delivering ourselves. Over and over again, life is delivering who we are. I heard that years ago, decades ago. And it just becomes clearer and clearer every year. The more I question, how automatic am I being in this moment? How reactive am I being in this moment? How can I be conscious to this moment? So that whole chapter is about how to become more conscious.
Yeah. And what I love about your book is because it actually helps you unpack that. Because we can hear that in so many different places, but okay, well, how do I actually consciously live?
Yeah,
how
exactly.
do I know what are the unconscious things that are going on for me? And the book walks you through that. It's just
so
it's
much
incredible.
of it. Well, as I said, I've said many times, being told the answers within is super unhelpful if you look in and you just feel like crap. Like I used to look in and feel afraid. It's like, man, that's dark in the room. Everyone should just back quietly out of that room and shut the door. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. Let's just seal that up and never discuss it again. Yeah. So me looking inside was not a great place to look. So I wrote the book the way I wished I'd been taught when I began the journey, that there are ways of looking within. We can train our minds and our consciousness to start taking care of ourselves, to be on our team, to be excited about us, to have our self-talk be on our team, to have self-talk that's kind and loving and compassionate and thoughtful and into us and encouraging us.
Yes.
And that's possible.
And it's the feedback we're getting from thousands of members now as they're starting to do it.
That's so wonderful.
It's possible. They're opening up.
That is so wonderful. Every time I hear a story like that, I'm never getting tired of hearing those stories. It's been 16 years now and I'm still, I think I'm more thrilled today because I'm recognizing, I just felt emotion then. I just felt the emotion of it. I'm recognizing more every year that the vulnerability it takes and the willingness it takes to not act like we've got it all together. The strength it takes to say, you know what, I'm tired of saying I'm okay and not feeling it. I'm just going to say I'm not okay and still be accepted.
Yes.
That takes a lot of courage. That takes a lot of vulnerability. That takes humanity. This message keeps coming through. If we deny our own humanity of our flaws, we're never going to make the progress. But who are we safe admitting flaws to? Who are we safe saying out loud, I don't feel okay about me. I don't know how to make sense of this. I look inside and it's like we should shut the door like you did. That's Sharon, I'm with you. Let's never go into that dark dungeon again. That's horrible. So to be able to speak up in knowing all of that and still speak up and say, as people do in our community, every hour of every day, I am worth being heard when I say, this is hurting.
Yeah.
I deserve to be able to say that and be safe saying that and to be respected saying that and to have compassion come my way. And then, of course, it's up to me to do something about it. The point of the book is not just to express our flaws and our mistakes and our vulnerabilities and keep getting attention for it. That's certainly not the message of the book. But there is a space in the beginning of this journey to be completely validated on where we're at. Because, again, this message of we can't generate the change we want until we can address where we're at.
Yes.
And addressing it is not, yes, I feel really stuck. It's, I'm feeling really stuck and have someone reflecting that back accurately. To know we're safe doing that. And everyone in our community, thousands of people around the world are doing that for each other every day.
It's beautiful.
Every minute of every day. I'm
Yeah,
seeing
literally.
that going on, the kindness.
Yeah.
I feel safe in that community knowing I can be flawed, that I can make a mistake, that I can have a setback that's known publicly. And this amazing group of thousands of people, men and women around the world, are going to go, hey, we're beside you. We're with you. It's okay to be human. There's your humanity right up in front, and we're with you. There's this wonderful story of a tradition in Africa with the Maasai, parts of the Maasai tribes, not all of them, where if someone makes a mistake, in Western world, what do? We shun them, we shame them, we do everything we can to remind them.
Put them down.
Yeah. You better know your place.
Yes.
You're flawed. We've seen it. You're not okay. You're out.
Yes.
They go the opposite direction. You make a mistake there, they come around you and remind you for 3 days all the wonderful ways that you've been loving, you've been thoughtful, you've been compassionate, you've been there for people, you've been an important part of this community, and they heal together. This community we're building, to me, is, I took it from that metaphor those years ago. That's the space we need to create in the middle of all this shaming and tearing down and finding flaws and clickbaits and headlines designed to shock.
Yes.
Tall poppy syndrome, all of that. We need a safe harbor more than ever.
Yes.
So to me, living consciously is creating that safe harbor, not just for myself, but for others, and having others being okay that I am in their safe harbor too. My message is, who would you call at 2 a.m. you're in trouble? Just know I'm on your list.
Yes.
And I know you're on my list.
Yes.
And that's how it's meant to be. It's meant to be given because we share humanity. You're in trouble at 2 a.m. It's not, I have a list of 3 people I can call. It's this community can be called upon. I'm in trouble. I need you.
Yes.
I don't need you right now to judge me or to point out what I know
what I'm not
I messed
doing,
up.
Yes.
It's to be with me.
Yes.
And remind me that I go beyond, I'm defined way beyond this one moment when I'm not at my best, or I've been perceived as not at my best, or I've been misunderstood. I am bigger and we are bigger than that. So this community, in terms of conscious living, is, well, how do we bring that to life in a very real way? Not in a theoretical way, not according to the
and
research.
I think that's what I love about it.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Yeah, we're not just talking about it, we're doing it.
No.
And I think through that, we give people the strength, or, really we give each other the strength to then finally maybe face some of the beliefs that aren't serving us and face up to some of the rigidity that's been holding us back, or face up to the fact that maybe there are things that are important to us that we've never really fought for.
Well, you've said there's a lot to pick out from what you said. The first thing is, let's challenge our beliefs.
Yeah.
So I used to hold dear the belief that I couldn't trust people. That's just turned 180. I think 180 is the opposite. Yes, 180. Maths in public, my strength. Somewhere over there. I've moved to, well, that's just not true anymore. But I had to challenge that belief consciously for a few years before I was able to arrive at a different place. But I had to be willing to test it. I had to be willing to challenge it. I had to be willing to say, well, is this really true? And according to my experience until then, yes. My experience of the world, because I was experiencing myself, was that was true. So changing that was a challenge. But until I was willing to question it, it was never going to change.
It was never going to change.
The time was going to pass and I was still going to feel just as stuck and just as lonely. So that's the first part of it. Then we need to start looking at, well, what is playing out in my world? What am I experiencing? And there's always this tension between rigidity and permeability, this rigidity between versions of toxicity.
That's so cool. I love that language. First time I ever heard that was chapter 2.
Yes.
First time I ever heard it.
Yeah. So we're all living in this dichotomy and swimming on the ends of it within the 2 extremes of the structure. And that includes culture and society and businesses and organizations, families and individuals. We're living this dichotomy where either we're experiencing a lot of rigidity and the toxicities in the rigidity, or experiencing a lot of permeability, and I'll go into that, and there's toxicity in that. And swimming in between is consciousness. This is the automatic and this is the consciousness. So the extremes is, this is the way I was taught. So the rigidity is, my way would be exampled by, my way is the right way. Bureaucracy matters. This is how we've always done it. I'm right, you're wrong. There's black and white thinking. There's absolutism.
Yes.
There's a lot of conservative shutdownness. It's you don't cry in public, be a real man. It's those types of expressions. That's the narrative around rigidity. Then the opposite extreme in the dichotomy is the permeability. Some people have been raised where anything goes, where you're right simply because you're so special, because you're perfect in every single way, you don't have to change. Well, actually, you kind of do, because only your mother sees you that way, but you're in your 30s, perhaps you need to relook at that. Is the permeability of that has to be torn down no matter what, even though we don't have a good answer. Or it's this very progressive, and I call myself progressive, but it's an extreme progressiveness where whatever was is bad.
Yes.
Whatever has been's got to go.
Yes.
How dare you tell me how to live my life? How dare you try to limit me? And both of them have anger and holding on really tight. Now, you wherever you are, you will have a preference to what you just heard. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a time and place for that. But they won't be the same. Two viewers will be on different sides of this, and they'll be looking across the canyon going, that's wrong.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. Yeah. and they're just firing past each other. So that's the automatic. And we're all raised in one end of the dichotomy or the other. All of us are raised with more rigidity or more permeability. That tends to be, very rarely do I meet. I know one family that probably, based on me knowing them for 16, 17 years, 18 years, was raised somewhere more in the balance and the consciousness, which is amazing.
Yeah.
The middle ground is seeing that the inflexibility and the toxicity of this is what we're doing automatically. The moment we externalize and go, that's the way it has to be, or we think it's about control or it's about pulling something down, we're probably contributing to the toxicity. Probably. So it's a good way of knowing, oh, I'm in the toxicity right now. I went to blame, or I went to tear something down, or I went to point out flaws in a big thing that's going on. It's exciting to people, or I went to defend a status quo for no other reason. I've always defended it.
They've always defended it.
Now, that doesn't make us wrong. It makes us automatic. The question is if we want to progress, okay, I've done it. That was automatic. I'm okay with that. Or I've done it. That was automatic. I think I might have a go at seeing something here a little different.
Yes.
I might have a go at going into the, to rougher waters of maybe I don't know. Maybe I can loosen up around my righteousness. Maybe I don't have to emotionally react right now. Maybe I can question this in terms of compassion rather than judgment. Maybe I can come with a softer focus rather than the hardness of certainty. Maybe there is a middle ground here where I can swim and there's more room for others.
Yes.
Maybe I could do that. And then, of course, the first time I did that, I went, well, yeah, that's all lovely, but I don't know how.
Of course.
So then I needed to keep learning. Okay, so how do you do that? But at least to be asking those questions, it's just softening the edges a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just, okay, well, that's how it's been and that's how I think it should be because that's how it's been. But is it making me happy? That's my benchmark.
Yeah.
If it's making you happy, stay there.
Not full.
But if it's not making you happy, you don't have great relationships, you don't feel that life is for you and with you, probably you're stuck in the rigidity.
Yeah.
Because what's to defend?
Yeah.
What's to defend? That's the way I've always done it. I know best. Yeah, great. And if it's making you really happy and those around you feel loved, you should carry on. But if it's not, I don't know what you're defending right now. I don't know what you're fighting for other than the right to stay rigid.
Yes.
Rigidity is what really tears through organizations, it tears through families, and it tears through heart space.
Yeah.
That rigidity, it just hardens the heart to new perspectives or for the space for, I do this whole thing in chapter 3 on differentiation. In a space of rigidity, no one can break free or breathe out.
And be who they are.
No one can find the space to be differentiated and be unique and not be judged, critiqued, assessed, observed.
Yeah.
Having a running commentary on them. Your families do this. Families do this. Oh, I didn't think you were into that. Instead of, you're into that, tell me about it.
Yes.
Tell me what you're loving. The rigidity is in the really, and the gentleness and compassion is in the really. Tell me more. And just that one word, the same word, done with a compassionate tone, that's opening a lot. That's opening a lot more doors, a lot more hearts than really.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
And I love that in that space, so many members are sharing with us their Someone wrote, I think she actually shared this in the book, one of the stories, is that she feels like she's being herself for the first time
Yeah.
in 40 something years. And I think in a story she said something like, being me is fucking awesome.
Oh, that's so good.
And it's so good.
That is outstanding.
Because I think, there is that fear of, it is a bit of a scary journey, to question some things you believe.
Well, here's the thing. If everyone agrees with it, you're not doing it.
Yeah, I love that.
If everyone goes along with it, you're probably not doing it.
Yes.
Because you're probably still stuck in the rigidity of what was going on. So that's chapter 3. It's how do you know you're differentiating yourself? You're probably getting critiqued.
Yes.
You're probably getting
if
lots
you're not rocking some boats.
If you're not rocking the boats, it's not differentiation because it still recognizes the sameness of the status quo that you were within. So in that chapter, in chapter 3, in Tribal Cycle, we're really starting to unpack, this balance, this stress again, this permeability and the rigidity, and then the second stressor is, do I belong or do I differentiate?
Yeah.
And when do I know? And how would I know? And am I belonging for reasons that are for my greater good and my well-being? Or am I belonging to fit in so everyone else stays comfortable? How far can I differentiate myself before the tension gets too great and I need to get back in line? And grown adults are dealing with this. And we need to talk about it because it's not children and teenagers who are wrestling with this. It's adults in their 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and beyond who are saying, it never occurred to me.
Yeah.
It never occurred to me.
How could it?
They've been raised with state you belong. Love is defined as you fit in. Love is defined as you don't rock our boat. Love is defined as this is how you do it. Love is confused with loyalty. And loyalty is confused with love. It's you are not recognized as loyal if you do something different. I still love you. I'm just doing something different. No, you're being disloyal and you're not being loving. Yes. So people have never been taught, a lot of people are never taught, well, we can do both. And that's probably going to be healthier for our very centered selves. If we can it's not two sides of the coin. It's just flip it open. Let's just flip the coin and split the coin and open it and recognize I can belong as a differentiated self. Now, to do that, we need to do chapter 4, 5, and 6.
Yes.
But that is the beginning of, we're really getting attentive to our own consciousness when we recognize I'm not constantly sacrificing my differentiation for belonging, and I'm not constantly annoying everyone for my differentiation. There does come a point as we mature emotionally. This is an emotional maturity journey.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It is emotional maturity when I can hold both in the one space. When I can sit with my family, be myself, my way. I know it's pissing off someone in my family a lot, and I'm still sitting in my space. And they might not feel belonging as I differentiate myself, which is probably feedback I'm doing good for me.
Yeah.
Now, they don't think I'm doing good because they're not into me doing good for me. They're into feeling safe.
Yes.
So belonging is really filled with safety and status quo and sameness, and we recognize it. We're familiar with it. It's been approved of by generations before. You're fitting right in. Differentiation is recognized by it's a unique flavor of self. And it could be anything from dressing a little differently to a different career choice or a different relationship choice or having an opinion that is different to what the tribe has supported for a long time. For a long time, my family would have said, you don't talk about love and vulnerability. I've differentiated myself in the same space, and I absolutely do talk about love and vulnerability and being flawed and not having it all together. Absolutely. And that causes tension in the tribe. But if I don't do that for me, I don't get to have me.
Yeah.
Ever.
And that's how we grow up with all the masks and all the shields and all the walls.
That's it.
Yeah.
I will never know me unless I'm prepared to hold that space for me. Now, everyone's reacting to that.
Yes.
Especially when you first do it. It's not pretty.
Yes. And then you come along, you share a post in our members group and say, I had a go and it was messy. And then you'll have people around the world who will jump on and say, it's okay, you're doing great.
Yeah, that's the first step.
Go.
That's that first step is when you start recognizing this is possible.
Yeah.
Because even in the messiness, because humanity is pretty messy, even the messiness, I saw a glimmer of who I can be.
Yeah.
I just saw a glimmer of who I can be. And then we start doing that more and more. Now, every now and again, man, I'm just going to belong. It ain't worth it. It's just not worth the conversation.
Yeah.
And every now and again, I'm not going to belong because that compromise would never be worth it. And that would be a compromise of my values and who I've become. And my answer is very clearly these days, no, I'm not okay with that. I'm not going to go along with that. And yes, does that cause chaos? Yes. But to think that we can transform our own lives and reclaim ourselves and restore ourselves and become who we're meant to be is not going to create some chaos. Yes. We're never going to take the journey.
No.
If the condition of taking this journey to fall in love with ourselves is I must not cause any chaos or any boats for anyone, we'll never move.
Yeah.
Because we're literally giving up everything we think we could stand for everybody else's safety and security.
Yes.
So we'll have no life worth living, but everyone else will feel safe. So all we're going to do is perpetuate the tribal cycle because we weren't willing to say, I deserve it, I'm worth it, I'm enough, I can handle it.
Yeah.
Because we can.
We can.
We can.
And we're worth it.
Yes.
And
here's the thing, though. You can't know you're worth it until
you start doing it. Yeah, completely.
It's almost like this chicken and egg thing, I think.
Yeah.
I can't know I'm worth it until I've differentiated myself.
I start taking
I can't, and I don't think I can differentiate myself until I know I'm worth it. But that first step of differentiation, you get a glimmer. That's the pathway to me knowing I'm worth it. Yeah. There it is. I trust you got value from this podcast. We had so much fun and delighted in bringing it to you and for your loved ones. If you haven't yet, your subscription would be absolutely fantastic. Your subscription and your feedback means that we get to rate higher. If we get to rank higher, more people get to hear this message. You can also help out if you'd love to. Once you subscribe, by sharing this podcast with someone who you believe this message may resonate with and create a discussion around it. Just enjoy it and interact with it however you choose, but most importantly, we'd love your subscription. See you at the next episode.